Taryn Marie, how do I find the right line between the light and the dark? Because you're talking about both of these things, the grief of what might be happening, during the coronavirus, but just in general in a tough time, but also that there's opportunity and there's something new emerging from that, just the nature of the system.
Sure.
But I can see how if you go too far into the dark, that is hard for you and hard for those around you. And if you go too far into the light, if you're too like, oh, this is amazing, I'm pivoting, I'm reinventing stuff, and look how good this is, look at the sun rising, you can be tone deaf and a little, I guess, inappropriate to those around you. And I know as I sit here in the moment, trying to find that sweet spot, that line through those two sides of seeing the situation is a hard thing for me right now. And I'm wondering what guidance you'd give me and others around that.
Yeah, I think it can be a bit of a moving target, but I would offer three things. The first thing that I would offer is the notion of the Stockdale paradox. Are you familiar with the Stockdale paradox? Yeah. So Jim Collins, I believe, popularized this paradox when he wrote Good to Great. And the Stockdale paradox is about Admiral Stockdale, who was held along with John McCain and others as a prisoner of war during the Vietnam War in what they called, quote unquote, the Hanoi Hilton.
Yes.
But it was anything but,
of course. Yeah.
A nice place to be. And when they asked Stockdale about his time as a prisoner of war that lasted, over 3 years, but of course he didn't know that, right? I mean, you don't know how long it's going to go on.
Sure.
And I think this is really salient to where we are today, because we also don't know how long, this shelter in place and quarantine is going to go on. And so they said, okay, who were the people who were really adversely impacted by this? And he said, well, that's easy. It was the optimists. And they were like, sorry, what? Did we hear you correctly?
Exactly. It doesn't make sense, right? At the first blush, you're like, how's that possible? You want optimism.
Yeah. And so what he talked about is navigating this balance between faith, faith and realism, and having a realistic sense of what's happening, staying connected to the world, to your point earlier, right, of not seeming tone deaf. So finding a way to stay connected to what's happening in reality, and then also being able to balance that connection to reality with a sense of faith that things will get better.
Right.
And I think what that takes me into is the second of three things, which is a positive mindset at this time doesn't mean we're happy all the time.
Right. That's so important. I love that you said that. I'm going to say it again so people don't not hear it. Because like positive mindset doesn't mean being happy the whole time. It doesn't mean feeling all the feelings. It's it goes a little deeper than that.
Exactly. So the first thing is to balance faith and realism, right? To stay connected, and then to always have faith that things are going to get better. The second thing is to maintain a positive attitude. And what maintaining a positive attitude means is we're going to have tough days. We're going to have tough hours. We're going to have tough weeks, right? We have not seen the full complement of the
catastrophe.
I was going to use the word destruction, and I was asking myself if that was the right word, right? Like, we have not seen the full complement of the sort of cataclysmic event before us at the time of this recording, and we will. And so in those tough days, right, we can cry, we can be angry, we can be despondent, we can pull the covers up over our head, and yet the only thing that we need to maintain is that we know that things will ultimately get better.
Right.
Even if they're not the way that we would like them to be today. And then I'd say the third thing is, I've talked a lot about finding purpose in the pause.
I love that phrase. What does it mean?
It means that another phrase that we use in the English language a lot without thinking about it is we say, sometimes more flippantly than I'd like, well, Michael, everything happens for a reason.
Oh, that drives me crazy. Mm-hmm. That phrase drives me crazy.
Same, right? And so the idea here is a reason is typically something that exists outside of ourselves, right? However, when we make a sense of purpose for ourselves within this pause, it means that we go internal as opposed to external.
Yes.
And we decide what meaning this has for us.
Exactly. Now, you can't see it, but I'm kind of pounding my fist on the desk at this stage because I'm just going to rant for 1 minute in agreement with what you're saying. I agree completely with what they're saying, and I completely disagree with the statement everything happens for a purpose, because I take the opposite perspective, which is nothing happens for a purpose. It's random world events and small events and stuff happening all around you all the time. It's ridiculous to think there's a purpose behind everything that's happened, in my point of view. And you have every choice to respond to everything that's happening around you with purpose, with meaning, in a mindful way, in a way that says, this is the person I want to be in this moment. This is the choice I'm making as to how I respond in this moment. As man search for meaning, between stimulus and response, there's a moment, and that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, I love that. That's one of my favorite quotes too. I'll tell you a personal story briefly about how I learned this. Probably about a decade ago now, a little longer, I was in an abusive marriage, and it was my first marriage. And it was obviously someone I loved dearly, otherwise I wouldn't have married him. And that marriage ended with him nearly strangling me to death. And for a long time after that, I was searching for a reason.
Sure.
I was trying to understand why, how even, someone I had loved and who said that they loved me would also try to kill me.
Yeah.
It didn't make sense. And I was asking that why question, and I was trying to find a reason outside of myself, until one day I realized no one else, including him, can answer this question for me. This is a meaning that I get to decide for myself, right? And anytime I think we face any kind of challenge or change or complexity, we have the power, we are in agency, we are in choice to decide what meaning we want to make of that experience, and then consequently what story or narrative we want to tell ourselves.
I love that. If you picked up a copy of my best-selling book, How to Begin, Start Doing Something That Matters, well, there are additional downloads and templates and video you can get at howtobegin.com.